You know, Mr. Speaker, we've been in this huge debate around the Affordable Care Act for quite a while now, and one of the things that I cannot ever forget is the healthcare nightmare stories that I listened to before we passed the Affordable Care Act. And so as I see so many of my Republican colleagues gleefully celebrate the difficulties with the website or cancellations, and then think that that's going to somehow help them in an election, I can't think about any election. All I can think about are people like the people who I want to share with you right now. So let me tell you about Marty Ellison. Marty built a small business creating marble sinks and countertops. He poured everything he had into his business, and it flourished. He became a job creator in the language of some people. In other words, I would call him a small business person. I call his customers job creators. Just a few years ago, he employed more than a half a dozen employees. Recently, things changed drastically for him. Over the course of last year, his 9-year-old daughter, Abby, was diagnosed with leukemia. She beat the odds and was in remission for 6 months until her cancerous symptoms returned. She's now awaiting a bone marrow transplant, and Mr. Olson spent time with his ailing daughter, and his business began to decrease. He's now the sole employee of the marble business. 3 months ago, he suffered a detached artery and had heart surgery. He's still recuperating from his surgery and losing his insurance on January 1st due to a divorce. He began to search for the affordable health insurance, but most premium quotes were much too much for him to afford. The implementation of the Affordable Care Act means he'll not be denied insurance due to his pre-existing heart condition. The healthcare exchange in Minnesota, called Minsure.org, is allowing him to purchase a policy he can afford. Without the plans available on the Minnesota Healthcare Exchange, he likely would have to choose between health insurance or paying his other monthly bills. When his business is growing, he often trained employees to increase production, but sometimes lost that employee because he was unable to provide them with adequate health care insurance plan. The Small Business Exchange is there for him as business grows in the future again. Of course, Marty's not by himself in this. Tracy Brock is another small business owner. She's provided over a small business for 21 years. She's able to earn enough to support herself and hire several part-time employees. However, her health insurance premium have forced her to work 6 to 7 days a week. Those high premiums, around $650 each month, prevent her from taking time to enjoy life and to get some well-deserved rest. Her insurance premiums were taking up most of her marginal profits. The assets from her business disqualified her from receiving any assistance with her premiums. Tracy had the misfortune of being a cancer patient. She also needs knee replacement surgery, and Ms. Brock's business has not been as profitable recently. So she continues to work every day despite her health conditions. She began researching Minsure.org, the healthcare exchange in Minnesota, available to folks who live in our state, and she found health plans with better coverage at prices she can afford. Some plans she found were only 50% of the cost of her current premium. The additional coverage will give her more options to treat her conditions, and the savings will allow her to work less and enjoy life more. I just want to say, Mr. Speaker, that, we shouldn't look at difficulties in the implementation with the Affordable Care Act as a political opportunity. We should never take our eye off the fact that we got citizens who desperately need something way better than we had before we had the Affordable Care Act. I wish Republicans would say, you know what, it's there, it's passed, the Constitution, the Supreme Court has said it's constitutional, and we're going to do everything we can to make it work, even if we would do it differently. And we'll offer constructive improvements, but we're not going to sit back and just try to wreck it with poison pill bills like the Upton bill last week, or attempts to repeal it, or with the myriad of other tricks, sabotages, and devices that they have employed. It's time to help Americans like Marty Ellison, like Tracy Brock, and like millions of other people, including one of my own interns, Abby Shanfield, who is an awesome young woman, has had numerous surgeries since she was 10 months old, And thanks to the Affordable Care Act, Abby is able to stay on her parents' insurance until she's 26, and her parents were able to pay premiums and co-pays that have given her access to the health care that she needs. So with that, and for many other reasons, I urge support of the Affordable Care Act. Thank you.